Okay guys, so let's log out, and we don't actually have a log out button, and that's fine. We'll just do this. And then we'll go to admin, because what we're going to do now is we're going to log in with our admin account, which is nick@nick.com. And this admin account here, we need to have the ability to view users. So what we'll do is in our backend code for user.json, we're going to also add admins. I think that's what the role was named. We'll give admins exclusive right to everything. And then if I refresh this, there, we've got our users here. So you can add users, you can view single users, but that just links to post because it's using the same table here as our posts are. So what we'll have to do is just, if this is users, then we will link this to the user, basically. So, yeah, that's how to get users set up. You guys can kind of imagine the rest in how to do the, the single user page where you can modify the roles and stuff. I think we covered enough with the posts for you guys to be able to pull this stuff together for users, as well as the adding a new user and whatnot. The only thing is when you create a form to have the admin add a user account, you wouldn't use the register function that we've just written, because if you do, what will happen is the code that we added to auth actions for register, it's going to automatically call the login function and log in as the user. So you would create a new function here for maybe admin register or something like that. So with all of that, we're good to go. What we're going to do right now is I'm going to close all these files, and we're going to be working in terminal a little bit, and we're going to walk through the steps of deployment. And so actually before we do that, we need to do one thing. In our API file, our host is being set statically to localhost 8080. Now, this will work fine in development, but when we actually get to a server environment, this will not work. What we need to do instead is let host equals, let's say, null for right now. And within this code base, if you're running it using npm start, then node env is an environment variable that gets set to development. If you run the build command, which we'll cover in a little bit, it will have the production environment variable set. And so how to use this is if process.env.node_env equals development, then we'll say host, and we'll just drag this right up here. Else, we're going to say host. I'm going to copy this. There we go, and paste it. Now this will be the actual URL where our API is going to be hosted. So in our instance, I think I'll host this at demoapi.nickgermain.com. So let's go ahead and save this. That's all we need to do. So what we're going to do is Control-C out of both of our running commands here. One is the website and one is the API. Let me see if... All right. So these are currently all committed to a GitHub repository. I thought I set one up earlier. I did. So what we'll do is we'll git add all. We'll git commit with the message of deploying, and then git push origin master. And I always forget my GitHub password. So give me a second. Oh, it's going to ask for my username. I remember that even less. I think it's just Nick Germain. And then my password. Let me try that. No. So my username, I think it's Nick Germain. And then password, one sec. Alright, so it's not that. One sec. Okay, so my username is definitely Nick Germain. Let me try a different password. So, funny story while we're going through this. Is my... So months ago, I might just end up resetting my password. Yeah. Okay. One sec, you guys. I forgot my password. Oh. One sec. What's my email address? I think my email address is my... Okay. Emails. Let me add a different one. And it's going to ask my password. Alright, you guys. I am in a bit of a pickle. I'm going to pause this until I get myself out of this jam. It's all good. My password was saved in Chrome, so I was able to look at it like that. Okay. One sec. And then I'll tell you guys that story. So we've just pushed the front-end React application. Now let's push the back end. So git add a, git commit deployment, and git push origin master. Username and password. Alright, good stuff. So back in January, I used to, like a long time ago, I used to play Grand Theft Auto 5 online. And I hadn't played in a long time. So in January I installed it, and when I did, and I logged in, wait, how did that go? I couldn't log into my account, so I did a forgot password link through Rockstar's website, and when I logged in, I saw that it said I had played like 6 hours ago or something, and I started looking through my Rockstar account like profile, so where you can make posts and stuff, and a bunch of posts were being made, like somebody was playing the game on my account. And they even connected their Facebook account to my Rockstar Games account, so they were playing through that. So yeah, I got hacked, and so there was a few days there where I was racking my brains trying to think of, you know, anywhere else that I used the same email address and password combination, and going to these places and resetting them. And so that was kind of a stressful few days, but I ended up resolving all of that. But I had to change my passwords for a lot of stuff, including GitHub. and now I use a different password for everything, and I usually can remember them, but sometimes I don't remember which one is for which. So that's what happened. I have no idea how I got hacked. I don't use common passwords, and I don't put my password in anywhere. I'm pretty sensible like that. But anyway, so we've got these things good to go. What I'm going to do is open an SSH connection to my server. And you'll see it didn't ask me for a password because I use OpenSSL keys now. So I don't have to remember all my convoluted passwords. Plus, I think I actually disabled password SSH login on my server anyway, so you wouldn't even be able to attempt a password. I'm not sure. I'm sure I'll find out. But okay, so now I'm on my server, and I use Nginx. So you guys are going to need to set up Nginx. So just run, if you're on Ubuntu, if you have an Ubuntu server. And if you don't, actually, I have a great recommendation for a server if you guys need one, which I'll go over in the next video, because it's a little bit of info. But if you don't have a server yet, you might want to watch the next video and then come back to this one and pick up here. But if you do have a server, just connect to it via SSH. Good enough. Now run sudo apt update and sudo apt upgrade and sudo apt install nginx. Now I've already got nginx installed, so I don't need to install it, but it's going to install it for you. And there's going to be a few things you need to be aware of. So first is var www.html. This is going to be where we keep our React application. So if I ls, we'll see I have a couple things here. I'm going to make a directory called React app. Okay. Sudo make dir React app. And now I forget that. Okay, cool. So let's cd into React app, ls, going to git init. Okay, let's cd back out here. Let's chown this. And let's sudo chown it. Alright, we're good to go now. Let's cd into React app. And let's git init. And then git remote add origin, and what we're going to do here is come back to the root of GitHub. Oh, now they're okay. Profile repositories, and I'm going to grab my React tutorial GitHub. I'm going to go to clone and just grab this URL here, Control C, then back over here after git remote add origin, paste it there. And then git pull origin master. And it should grab everything. So now if I run ls, we'll see the source directory, the public directory, package.json, etc. So what we'll do is you guys will also need to install Node.js, which is sudo apt install Node.js. And I think that also installs npm. But another thing you guys should do is use nvm. So if you go to nvm.sh, it's a Node version manager. And so it can allow you to use different Node versions and NPM versions. And this is the setup right here. You just Control C this and then paste it into your SSH box. If you've got curl installed. If it complains, we can't find curl installed on your system, then just run apt install curl and then run this command again. It will install NVM. Now I've got NVM, and so what we can do is if you run nvm install, it will install the latest version of Node. One sec. NVM install should just... Okay, so NVM L. Okay. So my default version is 12.2. By default, if you install the Node.js from Ubuntu's packages, if you're on 18.04, which is the latest LTS, you'll probably get like Node 8 or something. So you'll want to run nvm install 12, and it will get the most recent version of Node 12, which now is 12.3.1. So awesome. So now you can see that I've just upgraded from 12.2 to 12.3.1. Now, if you want to use this Node version as your default system Node version, you would run nvm alias default 12. And you can see what it's doing here basically. It's setting the default Node version to 12, which actually is 12.3.1. So now if I run node -- version, we get 12.3.1. And then if you install a different version of Node, and let's say you want to use Node 8, you would run nvm install 8, just like this. It'll download and install it. And it says now using Node v8. So if I run node -v, it says 8.16, and I can run nvm use now and use any of my installed versions, which 12. All right, so now we've covered that. You guys should have nvm in your desired Node version installed. Now what we need to do is we need to install, so our application, our React application, has a package.json file which consists all of the packages that we've installed when using npm install -- save. And that's exactly why we added that save flag, so that it would save as a dependency in the package file, so that when we do deploy it, all we need to do now is run npm install. Now, this usually takes a little while, so we're just going to let it sit, and when your guys' npm finishes installing all of the dependencies, actually just come back to the video. I'm going to pause it here. All right, you guys. Now, when I've installed these, it looks like 78 vulnerabilities were found, 15 high. Let's try running npm audit fix and see what happens. Sometimes it can fix vulnerabilities, sometimes it cannot. Generally, if it cannot, though, it will say run npm audit fix to fix X amount of them, however many it knows it can automatically fix. And then it will say like 3 need to be manually resolved, which basically that's going to, okay. 1 package update for 78 vulnerabilities involved breaking changes. So we won't worry about that right now, I guess. We'll try and cover it in another video. But basically it's going to be about finding out which package is resulting in the 78 vulnerabilities, and it could just be something as easy as, updating 1 package. So let's go ahead And what we're going to do now is we're going to build the app. And in the package.json file, you can see scripts. And in here, we've been using npm start. And basically that runs the start script to run the hot reload server, which reacts to code changes. So it's great for development, but we would never run the start script to deploy to a production server. We would actually build all of the resources and basically the entire source directory into minified JavaScript and CSS files, and it puts it into a build directory. So then all we need to do is point Nginx, the web server, to the build directory to serve this website. So how we'll do that is we'll run npm run build, and this will take a few minutes. So I will be back when mine completes. Alright guys, that was actually pretty quick. So it has finished installing. So if I run ls, we'll see a build directory in here now. So what we basically have to do is we have to configure Nginx to host this website at that build directory. So I'm going to sudo nano etc/nginx/sites-enabled/default. And this will open all my existing code actually, but basically all we're really interested in is adding a new entry. So way down at the bottom, we're going to write server, and we'll say listen port 80, server underscore name is going to be demo.nickgermain.com, and yours will just be, let's say demo dot whatever the name of your domain name is. So we're also going to look at SSL connections here and how to integrate those, because basically what we can do is we're actually taking user input, so we're going to want to secure these, our API and the app itself. So let's go ahead and set the root to var www html/react-app/build. And then what we need to do to make this work is, by default, if we visited demo.nickgermain.com/login, or we don't have a login route, /admin, what that would do by default is it would look for a directory within the root. So within React app/build, it would look for a admin directory. And that's not going to work. So what we need to do is set location. We're going to pass a property called try files, URI, and then /index.html. And then we can Control O and get out of there. And we're going to sudo system control restart Nginx. If it's the first time you guys have ever started it, it would just be sudo system control start Nginx. Now, when I go to demo.nickgermain.com, we get our application. If I go to services, it doesn't show anything. Portfolio doesn't show anything. And it's because those pages we didn't actually make anything for. Same as team. Hopefully you guys had made something for them. But we see all of our routes are working. So that's because of the try files code that we just added. Now that's all good, but what happens when we try and log in is right now Let's try with that. I can't remember what my actual password is, but all we really want to see is a network failure. And it's, let me try again. There we go. So login. So as you can see, it's actually trying to communicate with demoapi.nickgermain.com, and it's trying to do that because in the API, the process.env.nodeenv is not in development. When we run the build command to actually build the code base, it is set to production. So nodeenv is actually production within this build. So it's trying to communicate with this API, which we don't have hosted yet. So the hosting for that is very similar, and we'll cover it in the next video.